Hello. Today we're going to think a little bit more about our fears in light of COVID-19, our worries, our anxieties, and today particularly the fears for our family and the whole concept of fear and family. Now, we all know that family matters, and there'll be many of us watching this now who particularly fear for our families because we have such a good experience of family. We're very thankful for our families and all they've done for us. There's obviously tensions in any family, but our overwhelming experience has been one of thankfulness and gratefulness for our family. I also know that there'll be those watching where actually we've had a bad experience of family, and it may be that there were abusive relationships and family feuds and things that have just existed for years, and we have very little connection with our family. But like it or not, whether it's good or a bad experience, the fact that those are still painful for us show that family really matters. The blood ties that we have matter. They can shape our existence. In fact, they're so powerful, they really drive human experience and existence. And inevitably, in a situation like COVID-19, what has happened, as we've said before, and here's a different cut for today, but those fears that we had were already there. Those things existed before, but just the pressure of what we're experiencing now has caused those things to overflow outside of ourselves, and now they are revealed. So with family, I don't know what some of the frustrations I've noted down here that we might be experiencing right now. Maybe that we just can't see one another. Our experience of family has been a good one, and yet we're unable to see one another. We might only be able to drive up to the house of elderly relatives or so on and wave through the window. Some of us may be so far apart that we're not able to do that. And there's a kind of genuine sense of grief about that. It's almost as if we're sensing that those have died already, and yet they haven't. And there's a very, very real sense of frustration there. But it shows that those fears underneath, that we will lose one another one day, and that will happen. And this can really run away with itself if we're not careful, so that before we've even got out of bed in the morning, have had a cup of tea, that person has got, first of all, COVID-19 in our mind, and they are going to go to ICU, and then they are going to be in that small percentage who die. And then, and then we're not going to be even able to go to their funeral. And that has all happened within 30 seconds, and we haven't even got out of bed. And those are the experiences that we have. Our fears can easily run away. It could be about money, not so much that the money drives us itself, but the fear that we won't be able to provide for our family. It may be, if we're really honest, in a quiet moment, the kind of idealized view of family we have has shown it doesn't bear the reality of the situation. And we don't want to admit that. So, it started out that, hey, this is a great opportunity during this extended period of time off to do stuff together as a family. We'll take up a hobby together. We'll play board games, idealise kind of life together. But cabin fever, which we knew was likely to come in, suddenly, the kids are frothing at the mouth, and it's a lot more serious than we thought. And you see, the family ideal is always sort of tantalisingly beyond our reach, and we're never able to grab it. We fear in that we might never get there, and why have we lived our life for this thing that we can't actually get hold of? It's the same for those who will be experiencing real loneliness at this time, who may not have a family at all. And what's been aggravated is that sense by COVID-19 that it may never come at all. And again, what is life all about? See, all these feelings show, one way or another, the blood ties that we have are really important, but we never get there. It's as if with family, our blood family, that it's like a cloud that just sort of goes between our fingers and slips away. It can't bear the weight that we place upon it. There's a sense it's important, but we're missing something with it. Now, of course, at the heart of the Christian gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ, is family. God is family. He's revealed himself as Father. He's come into our world as Son in the person of Jesus Christ. God is family. And his plans for his creation revolve around a family. But the thing is, as you look into the story of God's plans for his world, you notice that the family, the human family, has made such a mess of everything. And the Bible is wonderfully honest about that. it doesn't take you long. If you look through the story of the Bible, you see that a lot of this stuff wouldn't have made Jeremy Kyle. It's that kind of warts and all. But that's the whole point. It is through the warts and all of human family that God comes in the person of Jesus Christ, deliberately so, because he comes to save us, warts and all. And if our blood ties are powerful, then they point to a greater, more powerful blood tie that is through the cross of Christ. He's described as our older brother, and in a sense he is the ultimate blood brother, as the innocent older brother has his blood poured out for, well, in a sense, his guilty younger siblings. All that we can be therefore adopted into his family, that we might no longer be called children under God's wrath, but children of God himself. Now we, I think, may have all heard, and maybe even used ourselves with a kind of roll of the eyes of the phrase of saying, well, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family. And there's some real truth in that, isn't there? But Christian families, you see, are not, therefore are not some, and those that are sort of live for family values that you might have heard, they're not some idealized, weird Stepford Wives existence. The great thing about family is just it's supposed to be a place where you accept one another, warts and all, isn't it? Now, families now, therefore, are never perfect. And putting it bluntly, the only reason we have for membership with one another is because of DNA. That's the only reason. You've wondered, why else would I be around any of these people? It's only because of DNA. But you see, the whole point is that the small group teaches you something that's beyond itself. If we are able to show grace and forgiveness and celebrate the diversity within that extraordinary unity of the small group, it is pointing towards something bigger than itself. You see, it really matters. Family really matters because it's pointing towards an ultimate family that will bear our expectations, an ultimate family that is not simply built on the bond of DNA, but upon the bond of the love of God shown in Jesus Christ. And that bond can never, ever be broken. Certainly not by COVID-19. So may God bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you as we look to that ultimate family in him.